so I better start my recording. Okay, so here we are. Here's our recording for Design 301. We've been going over scheduling and some things like that. And I actually have a video to give you after Thanksgiving about how to choose your classes and things like that. So we're just looking at some of these industry choice drawings. Another thing I wanted to let you see is that I've changed up my calendar just a little bit so that you can choose to find me in Google Meet, Discord, or Kumo Space. And I thought I'd show you Kumo Space. It's a really nice, this is my office, and you do need to join. Yep, that's all good. And I can kind of zoom out. And so this is my office. And if you look at the map, my office has a waiting area, a little work area if you want to see stuff. You can plug into Spotify and play chess with each other while you're waiting to come and chat with me. And you can just move around. And then when two people get their circles to connect, they can hear each other. And we've got a whiteboard and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of, this is a nice little office meeting room where I can work with people and I can send you off to do cool stuff. I'll probably have the Design Hub application in here shortly. So if you want to meet with me in here, it's actually got a lot more tools on it. You can present, you can broadcast, you can check your microphone and all that kind of stuff. And oh, look, I'm in two rooms at once right now. So I should go back to the lobby here. And here I am over here. I can go back to the lobby there. So there we go. I'm all over the place. Okay, so I'll exit the space for right now. There we go. So cool stuff, huh? So you can get to me there. Let's see if it'll let me right back in. Look at that. I'm back in. All right, so if you want to, you can meet with me here, and you just click where you want to go. Click. If you want to, if I'm sitting over here and you want to sit here, you just click on it, and you can sit there. I want to sit in the center of my chair. There we go. Now I'm sitting in the chair nicely. Okay. Yeah, it is sort of like in SimCity. But there we go. Okay. So now, so we just talked about doing our modeling on this and what we can do to kind of make it look right. What I'm interested in is that you're able to somehow, some way, make these look right. So that doesn't quite look right. It's got 4 decimal places. So if I want to do it the hard way, I can go to the properties. I can say everything should be 1/8 and lines and arrows. Let me come down here to text size. Make this a little bit. So this is the hard way, right? 0.12 and go look at my fit and my decimal precision. I think that one was 2 decimal places. There. Excuse me. And I want to make sure I can do center marks. And I want to make sure that my layers are right. Now, that's what I'm really looking at. If you've got a little errant line somewhere, I'm not as interested in those problems as the fact that you could sort of get this thing done and really make it look right and try to get it done as a solid. Okay, so does that help, Alicia, on that one?
Oh, yeah, that definitely helped. Um, when I stopped working on that one and started doing a different one, I found a different technique. But I see now probably what I did wrong on this one was that I made the handle, the blue handle, and I had it was whole with the just the little tiny circle, and I left a little tiny circle for lining up when I should have just left the big circle open
Right.
to slide the big one in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
And then
like that was all one piece, right?
yeah, it was all one piece.
Right.
And then
Yes.
when I kept trying to fix it, I broke it apart too much.
Right. Right. And it's really hard to get it put back together. That's
It
that's
is.
that's one of the things you'll find. Boy, is it really hard to put it back together. But that's cool. That I think that was good work. Um, really, I was pretty impressed with what everybody had done already at the 50% mark. So I would just say keep on going. You everybody everybody who was turning things in was doing some pretty nice work. And this one is just particularly hard. So if you ran into trouble with this one, just go on to one of the others, and you'll do fine. People were doing a good job with the gear, the Geneva gear, with really with all of them. So there you go. Any other questions about the actual factual get things done? Everybody okay on those?
I had one where where you draw the little triangle and you line it up with the cylinder,
Yes.
and I still kept having that little lip at
Okay.
the top.
Let me show you the trick on that one. So, and I'm not going to do the correct dimensions because I don't want to look it up right now. But I know that you've got like, I'll make this a 4, and there's some sort of little hole in the middle of it. And then there's something that goes from this quadrant out this way, and then down, and then over, and then I'll just go up. Yeah. So it's this one, right? That looks kind of like this.
Yeah, and the cylinder was, like 7 1/4, and then the flat surface was about 2, and
Yeah.
then like it had a triangle piece that came down that was too thick, and then I think it
Right.
ended up being like 5 and something is the height of it once it was sitting on the platform.
Yep. So it's sort of like that. And so I'll press pull this one up, and then I'll press pull this one up, and I'll look at it as a conceptual. So that's not really quite it, but sort of, right? So now I'm going to take my distance because it's going to go from here. Oops. And that, oh, look at that. It's exactly 4. Oh, what is it in the Z? 6.571. 6.571. So I'm gonna make one now. 6.571. I'm gonna make the triangle. And I don't know what the actual angles are and everything, but I'm gonna show you a little trick that will help you figure out how to do that. So there it is. There's the triangle. Now, the first thing I need to do is rotate that so it's straight up and down. There's my 3D rotate. Isn't that the coolest thing? now, yes, go ahead.
So I have a question. In these drawings, I actually drew it in Inventor. So I already have done all the shapes. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what I'm supposed to do
you can use
next.
whichever one you want. If you used Inventor to begin with, then
Mm-hmm.
you're fine. You don't have to do anything else. You
But what am I? I mean, what's
Well, then you
assignment
don't have
number
anything to
13?
do for the second portion.
Oh,
If you've got it all done, isn't that cool?
yeah, that is cool.
But
Thank
I
you.
would suggest that you spend your
Uh-huh.
time and
What
either
tab?
try it in AutoCAD or try it in SketchUp, because
Okay.
um, we have a saying that says you don't want to be a one-trick pony, right?
Yes.
Which is from the circus, and the pony could only do one trick, and eventually they sent him to the glue factory. So, so you
Yes.
want to be able to use these because they're all the same concept, but they all look a little different. So it's really good to be able to do those. So now, Alicia, here's the trick. If I move this so that this midpoint is on my quadrant, which is what you try to do. Come on, go to my quadrant. I want it to go there. You get this weird thing, right? Not working. Does not work because I have these.
I did
Oh,
something completely different.
oh okay. Um, but did you end up with something that kind of looked like that with this weird gap
I
here?
did. No, I didn't have the gap at all because what I did is I press pulled a rectangle up
Okay.
to the exact height of the cylinder, and then I sliced the angle down. And then, but I had a little tiny
Okay.
pyramid shape just above my
Okay.
cylinder. But I did like, I mean, yours looked a little easier.
So now here's the cool thing. I just added a piece onto this because I know that I can union it later on. Now I can put the midpoint of the front corner back on that quadrant and see how they actually do go together, right? And here's the problem, right? So what you did is you made this rectangle and then you tried to slice it away, right? Or
I did.
press
I
pull it
sliced
away.
it away.
Right. So I'm doing the
Yeah, I sliced.
yeah, I'm doing the
Mhm.
opposite where I put it together and now I'm going to union it. Cool. And that's actually when you put your fillet on it, what happens? So the drawing that was there is just kind of a little bit wrong. And you do end up with this thing here because their drawing that they gave us makes this when you really make it. So see why I said if yours doesn't quite look right, it might be right. So now I can fill it this.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
So now I can fill it this shape. This edge. Whoop, what am I doing here? Fill it. Radius 0.18. Is that what it is? And select this object. And then that's what you get. So, and then when you look at that, you get some weird stuff. Now, at the top, you might just not have got things lined up just right. Right? It could be that your top didn't line up just perfectly. But layout, space for model space. Go and let's see what kind of a. It's also good 1 to 8. That's probably okay for this one. I think 1 to 4 would be. 1 to 4 would fit on this one. And you see how it really, what happens right up here is problematic, but you could easily make this because of what happens up here, right? So that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, if I try making it how you made it, I think it'll work better.
Okay.
I was just having trouble centering stuff, so I can just practice
Yeah.
moving things center to center.
Yeah, and so and that's really part of what this is. Let me union these. You know, and now I'm a shift right clicker. So I hold the shift key down and I right click to get my list. That's sort of my shortcut. And you can see I'm thinking, well, what do I know? I know a midpoint and I know a quadrant. Sometimes I'll use center, but in this point it seemed easier to use midpoint and quadrant, particularly knowing that what they drew was a kind of a weird 2D presentation that somebody would get, but doesn't really give a good idea like this does, right? Now it could be.
Yeah, I get.
I mean, and I chose to do it this way, but it could be that what the person was looking for was something different. It could be. I'm going to show you another cool one. See this thing called wedge? How do you like that?
That's really cool.
And now you can pull it up and down
very
to
nice.
match. Right? And so, and this one gets a little bit harder to do. But if I know this DIST across here, well, I think that's too wide. So this is what I love about that wedge command. Width, 2.5. Huh, isn't that cool? I can just change it to be whatever I want. So now that would mean what did I say that width was? 2.5. That maybe what they were hoping for was that this corner matched up right there. Now, if I needed to, I could match this corner to this. I think it's called a parent intersection, but let's just. It can be hard to find these sometimes. But looks like I need to actually get something that intersects there. And sometimes it's easier to work in wireframe. So a lot of times this is like, well, what do I know? And how can I get there? maybe that's what they were looking for. Okay, but then you lose this weird little thing, right? So I'm not always positive when you get those 2D drawings. Personally, if I were doing the design, I would do this because that's just more of my design style. But somebody might do something like this. It could be that that's how it would be done. So that one is problematic from that point of view, is you don't actually have a perfect representation of what's happening at this corner. But everything else should be pretty straightforward. And so whatever you drew is going to be fine. Cool. Any other good
Yeah,
ones?
that sounds cool. Because I did the drive lug when we were just doing the 2D drawings,
Right.
and I was having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. I actually had to take a toilet paper tube and cut it
Yeah.
and then hold it so that I could see what it was doing.
Right.
Like folding, like it was funny that I was holding this tube of toilet paper to try
Right.
to figure out what was going on.
Right. But then when you do it in 3D, after you've done that, you go, okay, this part comes out, that part goes in. Oh, I see. And that one would fit into, if you had two of them, one would fit into the other, right? It's just a
It just
classic lug.
Yeah, it was just a trippy picture to try to figure out what was going on.
Right. Especially down in the little lower corner where you have the cutaway and you have to really try to get what that looks like down there, right? So cool. Okay. Any other questions before we log off?
Just what is your expectation for us to turn in this week?
Well, really and truly, most people don't need to do any corrections. If I didn't do a whole bunch of markups, you can just turn in what you turned in last time, unless you want to really make something a little bit better. You
Okay.
guys have all met the requirements of this class. It's like you're
So
moving past. So
I have a question.
yeah,
So you remember the shape that you were working on earlier, the floating arm thing,
yeah,
the cut part of it. When I did it in Inventor, I don't know how to cut it and make sure that everything still is aligned.
okay. Let
If
me
you see
see
my
if I can.
drawings that I turned in, you'll see that I just did it straight because, and I did it in Inventor, but I'm not sure if you can
Yeah, let me
help me
let
see it.
me let me open one. Let me open up Inventor really quick. I'm not. I
Right.
haven't. I'm not sure I've done that one in Inventor, so I have to look it up.
Yeah, I did it in Inventor and
So so probably in Inventor, what I would start with. Let me just see what some of the things are. I might put a taper on it and then cut away what I didn't want. Okay, so I think that they're calling it split.
I haven't learned that command yet.
Well, then let me let me just do it a kind of simple way. And I'm just going to pick some sort of a spot. And I'm not going to do the whole round thing. Dang it. This particular keyboard has the escape button in a funny spot. Okay, and let me finish that sketch. So here's one way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and extrude that. Now, so the first thing that I can do is I've got this extruded, right? And so it's okay. Now my next thing would be to sketch in that plane and figure out what I have to cut away.
So after I did that, you recommend me to do that before I do the smaller circles? Because when I did that,
Well, this should
I got it to the right
have
shape,
a,
and I did.
yeah, this should have a hole in it right here, right?
Yeah, when I did the hole became awkward.
Yeah, I would do this first.
Okay.
So now I've got that cut because it's real easy to put that hole in later on. If nothing else, you could have the hole here.
Yeah, but when I put the hole, because of the fact that the object that I'm putting the hole on is not, let's say, it's at an angle, it's not like straight.
Well, that's why you use your planes. You would draw your next cylinder on that. So if I want to put a hole in here, I put it on that plane, not on the part. So look. So I can make an offset of let's say I've got a piece, I've got a plane that's sitting somewhere. I don't want to put it on the surface. I want to put it on a plane. And then you can extrude that. That was supposed to be a subtract. Yeah, that's really straight now, right? So you just create a plane that you can work on. Although you already got one. You've already got one. You've got your XY plane. And so you would do your measurements from there.
I'll do that. I'll give that a shot.
So that's one way to do it. You can use that split function also, but you have to have a plane that you do the split on. And it's really sort of just like what I did right there. It really is like that. Right? And then I just got rid of it in both directions. I think that's your easiest. Cool? Does that help out?
Yes, thank you.
Yay. All right, well, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting, and I'm going to stop the recording.